So today we are talking about how to manifest when you are triggered. And when I say triggered, I mean specifically triggered about your manifestation. Like you're triggered in that fear that says, yep, I might not get it, or here's proof of why it's so hard to get, those kinds of triggers where suddenly you really feel like you're in the reality where it's not working out for you and that's just how it is, and you're just kind of spiraling in the trigger of the emotions of not having it, of being in separation from it, of being totally, unfulfilled. Before we get into that today, as always, I will introduce myself to any of you who might be new to my channel. My name is Genevieve. I'm a manifestation coach. I mainly talk about law of assumption here, but I talk about all kinds of things that are going to help you deepen in your understanding of what is really going on when we're manifesting. So I'm here to try to give you deeper explanations, deeper tools that'll really help you to get it, that it is simple. What we're doing is simple, but I want you to really get the nuances so that you aren't taken by the old traps of your mind. So I go really in depth here, and if you want to work with me, I have links for all the ways that you can do that down below. You can join the membership portion of this channel, and that's the portion of the channel where I do post more meditations and kind of in-depth explanations. You can also book a one-on-one session with me if you want to talk with me personally and get some in-depth advice and clarity and some direction on your circumstances and all of that. I also have courses that I highly recommend because the courses give you an email every day with a different lesson and structure that's going to help you have that shift over time as opposed to just like a one shot of information. So anyway, that's all down below. Let's talk about now your triggers. So I want to start this video by reminding you, or maybe telling you for the first time, I don't know, but reminding you that you are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. And part of becoming a really good conscious creator is that you truly get that. You stop over-identifying so much to every little thought that pops up, every little feeling that pops up. You're no longer so in the duality of, oh, I have to be high vibe to make good things happen and I can't feel bad or else bad things happen. You're no longer in duality. You are accepting that creation truly is finished, as Neville Goddard says. And we as creators, we are stepping into the power of our consciousness to choose what is true about us. And what we're choosing is true about us is regardless of the circumstances, regardless of our thoughts, regardless of our feelings. We're going to a higher knowing. This is the God self that we're going into. We're not playing at the level of trying to fix our feelings and fix our thoughts as if that's what causes manifestations. What causes manifestations, as you probably do know, is the deeper shift that impacts your subconscious in terms of like, who do you really think you are? What do you really truly deeply believe is true about you and what you have? So as a conscious manifester, you are realizing that you can choose that. You can choose your identity. You do not need to just go with whatever your original programming was that you incarnated into this life and you got programmed by your very early experiences. You do not need to keep habitually taking the bait on all of the old programs and just habitually believing every little thought, every little feeling that you have. You're no longer doing that. You're realizing that you are an expression of God in living form, and therefore you can decide what is true about you, even if that thing that you want to be true about you is completely different than anything else you've ever experienced before. But here's the thing, and this is what you're probably struggling with, is you're deciding, you're just making that simple decision, because it is simple, but the work, it's not really work, but it's, I hate that word, I shouldn't say it's work. The process, I guess I should say, is deepening in knowing the truth, but it's simple where you pick what is true about me. And let's say, just for the sake of this example, that what is true about me is that I'm an amazing biologist. And you've picked that as true because you just know through your higher knowing that that is what is meant for you. It's like kind of beyond your free will. This is a thing I was talking to clients about recently, where your desires, they kind of come to you beyond your free will. Like it's not really your choice that you have such a desire for this particular person, or that you have such a pull to do this particular thing, or to become this particular person, or to have this particular thing. Like it kind of just like comes to you where you're like, whoa, I just like really want that. I really feel drawn to that. And you don't even really know why half the time, but it's coming from your higher knowing, your God self, your operant power self, that knows, that is that greater consciousness that knows you better than just like the minimal mechanisms of your ego mind. It's coming from there, and the choice you have is to either suffer over this desire that has just come to you, or to embody the having of it, to know that, okay, if this desire is coming to me, that means it is meant to be healthfully mine. I am meant to change my perception of this. I'm meant to change my relationship to this. I'm meant to step into the having of it, because when I try to deny having it, I am in suffering. Me denying that I have that thing, whatever it is, whether it's a person or a thing, an identity, you denying that you have that thing causes you suffering. So as a conscious manifestor, you are choosing. You're saying, I can choose to not be in suffering around this. I can choose to know that, again, in my example, which is random, is I am an amazing biologist. Because the desire just came to me. It's like, it keeps coming to me. I just know that it's like a part of me. So I'm going to choose it even more powerfully. But let's say that you have a long history of having nothing to do with biology. Maybe you were even terrible in school. Maybe you come from a poor family. Maybe you have nothing good in your physical 3D repertoire about science or biology, and it's crazy based on your circumstances. It's crazy to assume that you could ever be a biologist. The only thing keeping you from the reality in which you absolutely are an amazing biologist is how seriously you're taking all that old noise over here. All the stuff that I said, that I get you have a lot of experiential proof of, because you haven't yet physically experienced being the amazing biologist. It hasn't physically happened to you yet. And you have over here like this weight of all this other experience that you have had, where it's like, oh yeah, I suck at school and I don't have any money and I'm not good at science, or like whatever it is. And so the only thing keeping you from here, from you just embodying, yeah, I'm an amazing biologist, I just am. The only thing keeping you from that is how seriously you're taking these things. And by that I mean you're identifying with them. You have that thought come up that says, you suck at science. You'll never do well in school. And you see that thought and you're like, whoa, that is true. That is extremely true. I really identify with this. I identify with the fact that I suck at science and I'm not good at school. I identify way more with this than I identify with I'm an amazing biologist. And all we're doing here is we're learning how to see this thought come up that says, you suck at science, you're seeing that come up, and you are just kind of like, whatever. Like you're allowing it to come up. Because here's the thing, when I talk about triggering thoughts or triggering experiences that come up, a lot of people, they want to stop it. They ask questions like, well, how do I stop being triggered, and how do I make sure I'm never triggered again, or whatever. Like, how do I be perfect so that I'm never triggered again? But the paradoxical answer of that is that the more that you are really afraid of being triggered, like you have a fear of fear, and you are so afraid of being triggered, it shows how much you take seriously this reality. You think that even the thought that you suck at school, even that thought could take away your manifestation. But what we're learning here is that your thoughts and feelings are not you. They are not your God self. They are not your operant power knowing. And even if this thought comes up that says, you suck at school, blah, 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 all that stuff, your job is to not push it away, not to fearfully be like, oh my God, no, I hate that thought, it's so real. Your job is to simply be non-resistant to it. This is, again, a really big thing that Neville Goddard talks about. And another way to interpret non-resistance would just simply say acceptance, just neutrality, where you can see things pop up, see things internally pop up, thoughts and feelings, also see things externally pop up in terms of circumstances. And you can be non-resistant to them in terms of you don't give them a meaning that would ever take away this truth that you've decided I'm an amazing biologist, you wouldn't see anything internally or externally pop up that would disprove that. And by disprove, I mean you deciding it disprove. Because again, you as the operant power, you're the only one deciding what's real, and what you are reacting to in terms of like, oh, that's really real. Oh, that's not real. That's super real. This is really important. The things that you are reacting to in that way, that is what's giving life to your reality. That is what's manifesting the things that you're taking so seriously, and therefore holding to you like they're glued to you as if they're your identity. Those are the things that you are manifesting more of, because you're like, this is so real. And the things that you're just like, oh, that's not really real. It's not real. It's staying away from you, because it's like, you're not really taking it seriously. Or if those things do pop up, they tend to not stay very long because you are neutral to them. And that's what I want you to do when it comes to your intrusive thoughts, or you being triggered in emotions or triggered in old stories. Your job is to kind of ride the wave of them. Like, imagine it really like waves coming on a beach. Sometimes the ocean is totally still. You can totally just enjoy it, do whatever you want to do. And sometimes all of a sudden you'll feel big waves come through, especially when you're still in process of really grounding in your new identity. Like, you're really being disciplined and focused in choosing this new identity. And there are purges. I know you hear me talk about this, and often you hear other coaches talk about this. And purges are when you're making such a big identity shift that the two cannot coexist. Like, the two can't coexist. Like, you can't be an amazing biologist at the same time as you also really believe that you are crappy at school and you're crappy at science. Like, those two identities cannot coexist. So when you're really choosing this old one's like, this is safe to you, right? This is what you used to really believe. This is what you're really used to. I want to like come up and like challenge you a little bit. And it's not coming up to challenge you to punish you. It's often coming up to challenge you because it actually thinks it's keeping you safe. Like, it actually thinks that like, this is safe to you. Like, remember, you like this. You really identify in like a safe way with, you know, not being good at school and being bad at science or whatever. Like, this is who you are. And so it's coming up for you to interact with in a different way. Like, you have a choice when it comes up. You can either go back to, yep, that's what I prefer. That's what's safest to me. That's so familiar to me. I'm just all in on agreeing. I'm all in on identifying with that old thing. Or you can simply be like, yeah, I get it. That's how I used to feel. I am neutral now, because I am not my thoughts. I am not my feelings. I am unconditionally this. I am unconditionally an amazing biologist, and it does not matter. It doesn't matter if I have thoughts that come up that disagree with this. It doesn't matter if I have feelings that come up that disagree with this. I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be like perfectionistic, oh my God, amazing thoughts and feelings 24/7. Because again, that's playing in duality. That's making your fulfillment this. It's making it conditional, where it's like, you'll only get it if you're perfect in your thing. You'll only get it if you're never triggered. You'll only get it if you do manifestation perfectly. Like, all of those things are assumptions that you're layering on. And often you're causing more reasons to trigger yourself when you're layering on extra assumptions like the ones I just said, because you're making up limiting assumptions about manifestation, and you're just believing it, and then you're triggering yourself more, because every time you have a thought that you don't like, you're even more triggered by it because you think it's ruining everything, when really it has no power over your manifestation. You have chosen this. Like, you know that whatever this is over here, that you are like, this is what I have. This is who I am. Like, it is mine. It is mine because I can feel it. I just know it. It's something that I internally embody, even though I have no proof out here. For some of you, maybe you have no proof out here, or even in here, no proof that would confirm that this is possible for you. But you are so loyal to this that you don't take that seriously, the triggers, the thoughts, the feelings, and the moments that they come up. You can compassionately interact with them. And actually, that's part of becoming neutral, is that you aren't trying to fight them. You aren't resisting them, because when you resist them, as you know, what you resist persists. So if you're pushing back against them, being like, no, it's not true, I am good at science and blah, 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 then that's just going to push right back, because what you're pushing against, you're saying, this is so real, I need to fight it off. I need to fix it. I need to change it. This is a threat to me. And a lot of you do that. And I really want you to stop, because it's another version of you saying again that this is real, that this is what you're identifying with, because you're acting as if it's a legitimate threat to you. It is not a threat to you. You've just decided it's a threat to you, that thought or feeling, and then you got all freaked out and wanted to fix it, when really there's nothing to fix. The idea that there's something to fix is an illusion. You do not need to fix your thoughts and feelings. You will probably naturally start to feel much, much better. You will naturally have much better thoughts. The more you genuinely do believe in over here, like you become so disciplined and faithful in your deeper knowing that this is true, that naturally, yeah, you do more dominantly just kind of feel better about it. You do more dominantly have better thoughts about it. But those are kind of an after effect of your choosing and of your discipline. And even that word I don't like, because that still implies a little bit of effort, because it's not really about effort. It really is about focus, that you are not taking the bait on this other stuff when it pops up. You are practicing so much neutrality to all that stuff, and you are so faithful. It's really about faith. It's about, yeah, a surrendered faith that this is what is real, and all you need to do is keep bringing yourself back to it. Don't be going back and forth with like, oh my God, this is so real. And then maybe you have for a moment, this is real actually. And you're like, oh wait, no, it's not. This is real. Like that's what happens to a lot of people. It happened to me too. I get it. And it was exhausting to be in that, where I felt like this is only real. My manifestation over here is only real if I perfectly believe in it 24/7. And because I was in that very dualistic thinking, anytime I would have a thought that was like totally contrary to that, and the thought felt threatening, the thought felt real, I would glom over here and be like, oh my God, I have to fix this. I have to make this go away. How do I change this thought so that it doesn't come back and that I can just stay over here in my manifestation? And for a long time, I didn't realize that I was kind of doing it wrong, and also like just wasting a lot of my energy. It takes so much mental, emotional, spiritual energy and fighting against yourself to be constantly like going back and forth between the two and trying to make yourself perfectly believe. Instead, it really is a surrender to your faith in this, and knowing that it's like, even if you have a day where you're feeling really sad, you're feeling triggered, there's a purge, either in the 3D there's a purge or there's a purge within you, you can just sort of ride the wave. You're just like imagine you're just like a little floaty toy. What did I just say? A floaty toy? Imagine you're just like a little floaty toy, just like riding the wave. You're not trying to freak out and like make the wave stop and resist the wave. You're not resisting the wave. You're just riding it, and you're knowing that like, yep, this is not really a threat. This is just whatever it is. It's just old feelings. It really is not a threat to me. I can hold these feelings. That's another big thing, and a big reason why I like to reference somatic work when it comes to manifesting, is the more you really trust yourself to hold your feelings in a non-threatening way, in which you're no longer making your feelings mean that you're failing or that you can't have what you want. When you learn to hold your feelings in a very empowered, non-threatening way, it does become easier to just ride those waves in the moments that they come up without losing your faith in this, because your faith in this, whatever this is for you, over here, your manifestation, is unconditional. Unconditional, that means there's no condition that takes it away. There's no thought that takes it away. There's no circumstance that takes it away. There's no feeling that takes it away. There is nothing that takes it away. Again, unless you decide there is. If you're making rules within yourself, rules that say, oh, bad thoughts mean that this isn't true, or bad feelings mean that I don't get what I want. If you're making those kinds of agreements within yourself, then yeah, you made that rule. You're so powerful that you made that rule. That the rule becomes true. And this is why assumptions are so important to be aware of. Like, what are you really assuming even about manifestation? Because it does not need to be that hard. So I really hope it's landing even deeper. Like, you have what you want. Like, you do. You right now, acknowledge it. You already have it. That's how we manifest. We're acknowledging you've already got it. Internally, it's a deep, deep knowing that it is done. And now your job is to just be so kind to yourself and so gentle to yourself, and really aware of where you're accidentally deciding that you're knowing that it's done is actually, nope, it's not done because this just happened and that means it's not done. anytime you're doing that, you're just slowing yourself down. It's not something outside of you slowing yourself down. You, because you're engaging in old rules or rules that aren't helpful, that you're just making up, but you're pretending like these rules are real. You doing that is what is slowing down your process, because all you need to do, again, is just remain so faithful to what you know is true about you. And it does not matter anything from the past, doesn't matter at all. You are switching realities. You are choosing a completely new experience. Anything from this old reality, you just don't take seriously. Again, you're taking care of yourself when you have strong emotions come up, when you're having emotional purges come up. Really don't resist that. If you need to cry for a day and just like let all your grief out, do that. And do not make it mean that you've lost progress or you're slipping up, because that's what I feel like so many people do. So many of you are so hard on yourselves, and that is coming from an identity of I don't have, I am separate from, I need to do things to make things happen, I need to pursue my manifestation, I need to do all this stuff. And all of that is an illusion, but it's an illusion that you're making real because you take it seriously. So when you're triggered, you simply take care of yourself. And importantly, very importantly, do not make it mean that this over here, your manifestation, do not make it mean that this isn't happening, because it still is happening. There's lots of things that happen along the bridge of incidents. The bridge of incidents, it's a fun ride because there's all kinds of things that are going to confuse you that come up, that once you're at the end of the bridge, you will look back and see, oh, I can see why all this was happening. Your job is to stay on that bridge and never make any part of that bridge wrong, and always take care of yourself. Always stay in your higher knowing that everything is working out for you, and you love yourself enough. Again, big self-concept. You love yourself enough to carry yourself through any troubling thought that you're having or any troubling feeling you're happening, and knowing that you are not those thoughts. They're simply just little sprouts, little purges, whatever you want to call it, coming from your old stories, coming from old programming that made you feel like you were separate, that made you feel like you didn't belong. And all of it is illusionary stuff that you are no longer taking seriously. You're just going to let the emotions of those things come through. You're not going to fight it. You're not going to resist it anymore. And you're going to stay faithful. That doesn't matter what kinds of thoughts and feelings you're having. It doesn't matter how triggered you are. You are this. You are whatever this is over here. This is what you have. This is who you are. And that's all there is to it. That's it. It's unconditional. So let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Any other questions you have, all of that. I love to hear that, because if I hear a question from one of you guys that I think is a good one for all of you to hear the answer to, then I will make a video about it. And as I said before, there are lots of links below too on how to work with me with courses and all that fun stuff. So I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye.